Without further ado, what I would like to do is introduce you to our beautiful friend and our officially appointed CEO. This is his official appointment, Phil Chavez from New Mexico, Apache Navajo, hereditary, 20 years of banking experience with the Bank of America. We got him.
Okay, let's first start off by saying that why did they come to Turtle Island? Those refugees from Europe. They came here for one reason. They came here to get away from taxes. The reason for the Tea Party, the Boston Tea Party, because it was taxes without representation. And what happens? They fall back into that hole. Taxing, taxing, taxing. Now, if you walk on the sidewalk, you get taxed. Everything is taxing. So that's what we're trying to get away from, because one of the reasons we came here was to get away from taxes. But we have been trained from the beginning to think this way, linearly. In effect, we're not linear people. We're cyclic people. Everything is in the cycle. The cycle seasons, the 4 seasons is a cycle. Our lives is in cycles. So yet we've been taught to think linearly, and because we have been so programmed, it's like Steve said a while ago. We think that we're free. We're not. We're misguided. Our thinking is way off. We believe to be free. We are not free. We are slaves. We are slaves to a government that wants to keep us as wards of the state. In the United States, there is more welfare now. There's more people not working. You know what? U.S. wants it that way. Why? Because they want to keep you as wards of the state. You can say, oh, the government is helping me. The government is taking care of me. That's exactly what they want. They want you to become dependent on the government. When I came up to Canada, I did not come looking for a job or for another journey. I've already got 2 going. I'm the vice president for Yatesboro Earth Wisdom. It's an Indian community that we started. I'm the emissary for the World Council of Elders. I travel all over the world gathering information from elders, getting elders together to talk about their culture, their wisdom, the prophecies. But when I came to Canada and I started talking to Red Jacket, who was actually the one who introduced me to Cap and Irene, he told me, he says, you know, Chavez, he never calls me Phil. He calls me Chavez, just like the man over here calls me Apache or Bloody Apache. And he says, I've got somebody I want to introduce you to. And one of the things that I wanted to do, I'd never been in Canada, I wanted to meet the natives from here. I wanted to meet the natives. I wanted to see what they call themselves. I wanted to see their stories. I wanted to hear their culture. And I was blessed immediately because I went on a radio talk show and I met with an Haida Indian who was also the co-host. So we had a long discussion on many things, and I found out that our differences are very similar. And so it drew me. And when I was asked to meet these 2, of course I said yes. And from then and there developed a friendship. And they started asking me about my background. I says, I spent 22 years in the Marine Corps. I'm bilingual. I speak several languages. And I says, and I was banking for 20 years until I got, I said, I got to get rid of my corporal greed because I want to make more money. I want to make more money. And that's the way they got you. So when I told them I wanted to quit, the first thing they said, can we give you more money? That's not what I wanted. I said, no, I don't want more money. I want out. So they still left the door open for me. I never went back. That was 10 years ago. But when I got on this path and I spoke to Irene and, of course, Cap, what they wanted to do resonated with me. Because one of the things that they tell you, even the natives back in the U.S., you are sovereign. No, you're not. No, you're not, because you still fall under the umbrella of the USA. That means that if you want to go anywhere, you need a passport. Where does that passport come from? USA. Your visa, USA. Anywhere you want to go, it's USA. So you're not, our natives are not sovereign. You are sovereign only when you can produce these documents that you don't need somebody else backing you up. So to me this was important, and it says, can you help us with the banking system? Quite frankly, I don't want to be a banker. 20 years in banking, I want out. But I saw how important this was, and I said I would help them. The structuring, the organization of it, and the training. And I would do that. because that's how important I felt it was. Now what we're trying to do here is produce a bank, no interest, no taxation. Yes, yearly fee for services provided. Now how is this going to happen? This is going to happen because we're going to have our own technology. We already have people working on that. That means that when you go to a bank and you insert your ATM card, automatically that ATM card will send signals to the computer telling them, hey, this is Squamish sovereign government people. And they will automatically reduce or take off that interest and that fee. So that's the way it's going to work. It's going to take some time, but you know, the technology is out there. One of the things you also have to remember, these things have to start happening now. I have a lot of people that say, oh, I'm committed, I like what you have to say. No, you're not committed if you're not in. Committed means that you start joining. Because when you join, when you have a lot of people doing the same thing, you have unity. And I think Kevin was talking about that. You have to have these numbers come out and say, hey, I not only believe in what you're saying, I'm committed to helping your organization. And a lot of times it does not have to be monetary. It's vocal. Vocalizing what you believe to be true. I can tell you, I go anywhere. And people know what I'm doing because I tell them. I am not embarrassed. I'm not afraid to tell them what I believe in. If you believe in exactly and how strongly things are going, you will open up and talk about it. Because what's happening now, our elders tell us, we're in the last phase. This is the last cycle. And we have to move forward. A lot of people talk 2012, 21 December. They don't know a thing about it. Because what happens, that has been interpreted by somebody other than your cultural Indian. We know it's not the end of the world. It's a new beginning. We have left that fourth world behind of confusion, hate, wars, and everything. We're entering the fifth world, a world of love, compassion, understanding, and peace. Oh my. Right. That's what we're doing. We're entering that world.
Butterfly.
A butterfly. Transformation. Transformation, butterfly. That's what we're going through right now. A transforming period. And that transformation is what's going to get us across into 2013. A lot of our elders tell us that we had a little bit of a time there between 2008 and 2015. I was talking to Red Jacket a couple of days ago. He says, Phil, he says, I think I said it wrong. I think our time is shorter. So there's a lot of things that we have to do, and we cannot sit down and say, okay, well, I'll let somebody else do it. We all need to get involved. Getting involved means doing what you believe is true. You must follow your path. You must follow your own truth, because that's essential. If you don't believe what you're doing, I'm sorry, you can leave. But the thing is, you must follow your path, and your path has got to be the truth. When you do that, a lot of the things start coming back. A bank is essential now. The monetary system we don't care about. We will not call it checks. We will not call it money. We will not call it coin. We have another verbiage for it. And we are doing our own monies and coins. But that is only for the time being. Because the time will come when we will go back to where? The barter system. There's no taxes there. You have a goat, I have a sheep. We want to trade. Okay. You have tomatoes, I have potatoes. Okay. And that's what it is. It was always a better way. But we got away from that because all of a sudden the Pope decided that he wanted coins because they couldn't carry a massive part of their silver and gold over to Jerusalem. So they said, hey, we'll transport gold over there, and then when you need money, you just draw up this little piece of paper. I was going to say shit. But he says, and that way you have money when you get there. That's how the banking system started. And who started it? The Knights Templar. And what happened to the Knights Templar?
It's still here.
Yes, it's still here. But what happened was that the Pope knew that they were getting too strong, so he decided to have a committee and a meeting with all of them. And of course, we know that on Friday the 13th, he massacred what he thought was all the Knight Templar. But there was not. There's some that were escaped. And thus came the Illuminati, and thus began our banking system. All of this has, from the beginning, the money, the value of the money had bad omens attached to it. Money is no good. Your word is what I want from you. You give me a handshake, and you tell me what you're going to do. That's what I want from you. Money doesn't mean a thing to me. I don't have much money. But a lot of my friends tell me, well, you know, what are you going to do if you run out of money? Well, the Creator will provide. Because if I leave myself open to that, the Creator will provide. You open yourself up to receive, and then, first off, you put your intention, then open up yourself to receive. What we're doing here is creating a system that will not only provide for the sovereign government, but also for you. The Squamish Nation does not want to take anything from you. You're already here. You're natives. What they want to do is be recognized for who they are. And they want whatever they enjoy, whatever system is in place that they can enjoy, you will enjoy also. Because what comes around goes around. And that's what we need to do. We need to apply what we have, the knowledge, because remember, everybody has a piece of the pie. You have a skill I don't have. I have a skill you don't have. What happens? We meet in the middle and we discuss that and say, hey, you have some posts, can you dig holes for me and put the posts in there for me, and I will gladly bring my truck and bring them over. You trade, you barter, you have that respect for each other. That's the way it was in the old days. I'm 67 years old, and I can remember that it was always a handshake. You didn't go to a bank. You asked your neighbor, hey, can you help me put up my roof? And it was tit for tat. But nowadays, oh, put a contract here. You're going to get it done in 4 days. And if not, you know, hey, guess what? You're in trouble. We got away from all the good things that got us to where we were. We forgot about that. We forgot about respect, about unity, love, and peace. And I think that what the Squamish sovereign government is trying to do now is get us back together. And how do they get us back together? Unfortunately, it takes something we don't want to do, and that's money. We have to do it with money initially, but that's only the beginning. Everything is going to be up and above all. Transparency is what we are looking for. The banking that we're looking for is something that anybody can join. And I say that's a Squamish government, the individual that has in his heart that love and respect. That's what we're looking for. I'm not completely 100% Indian. I'm not. I'm 1/3 Apache, 1/3 Navajo, and 1/3 Spanish. And while I have to say I don't agree with my Spanish background as far as what happened to the Indians when they came to the States, because there was a lot of atrocities, not just the European, the Spaniards did the same thing, and sometimes might have been worse. But there's one thing that we all have to do, and we have that in the Apache way. We have a day of forgiveness. Because we carry that DNA of our forefathers. And sometimes we feel a little guilty about what our forefathers did. Well, we have a day of forgiveness because in order for you to forgive, you have to forgive yourself first. So by forgiving yourself, we can move forward. And when we do that, we open up so many possibilities. And how do we start forgiving ourselves? One of the things is by helping ourselves, and that is by helping what we're trying to do. Create a better world in the meantime. We have our children. Have you noticed your kids lately? The indigo kids, the crystal kids, the rainbow kids, I don't care what you call them. They're beautiful. But they're so susceptible, they're already thinking and learning things that you and I could not because our minds were closed. They're young enough that they're starting to think circular. And that's what we want to do. We want to think that way because that's the only way that we can survive going into the fifth world. What we want for all of you and all of us is understanding, better understanding, compassion, love, peace. The words that we resonate with, having respect for one another. Having respect, we don't have to think alike. We don't have to agree on a lot of things. But we have to agree on the majority of things. And If we disagree, that's fine. Have respect for that, what you think differently. If you don't do that, we cannot survive. What's happening now, there is no money at Fort Knox. That money's gone. It's an empty shell. All the money is in China. That's where the money's at. If we want the money, we have to go to China. They've got it. In Canada, I am not sure. We have a lot of states in the States that are bankrupt. A lot of countries are bankrupt. They have no police department, no hospitals that are working, nothing, because they have no money. They went bankrupt. Spain, Turkey, Greece, to name, what was it, Norway?
Iceland.
Or Iceland, I guess it was. They're bankrupt. California, for all intents and purposes, a beautiful state, bankrupt. That's happening more and more. Our currency is no good. We keep printing money that has no power to it. You can might as well just throw it in the fire and burn it, because that's what you're getting. It's no good. We're trying to come up with a better solution and a better way of doing business than what's currently out there. A lot of countries are calling, sending letters. Can you help us? Will you back us up? Well, tit for tat. You know, we'll give you these checks and we'll be able to work with you. And they've already been recognized for 14 countries, or maybe more. Irene, is this 14 countries or more?
The 28 nations of the Pacific Triangle.
There you go.
Africa.
28
Papua
nations
New
already.
Guinea, yeah,
Australia. Things are ready to happen. All we need is a little bit of push. And that push comes from unity. That push comes from sameness. That comes from people saying, standing up and saying, I not only like what you have to say, but I support what you have to say. Because without support, what you say and what I say means nothing. And until we get that under our heads, under our belts, and we think alike for this purpose, nothing will happen. We can continue saying the same things over and over again, then we become like the government, promising you things that we cannot deliver. And we do not want to do that. What we want to do is expose what's out there for the good of the people. And how do we do that? We expose it by telling you and doing the things that we're going to do, by offering you transparency. Anytime you want to come down and see what we're doing, it's there for you to see. Any questions, we should be able to answer. Just because we structure the bank, or I structure the bank and organize it and I do the training, doesn't mean that it stops here. It means that a lot of my job is over, but that doesn't mean I'm going to lose contact. I'll still be coming back. I have a lot of friends here, and I believe in what we're doing. This will pave the road for all natives in South America, including the USA. This will pave the road for them to say, no, I don't want your help, but I want my sovereignty.